let's get started. We are today doing Daf Yutet Amud Bet. So we're holding on Yutet Amud Aleph, where it says Rav Papa. Okay, so Rav Papa Amar. So it's the first one lines Litzamtzem and then Rav Papa Amar. Just to refresh, we're talking about Eshet Achiv Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. Right, let's just go back to that case of Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. So you have Reuven and Shimon who are alive at the same time. Reuven dies, and then Levi is born. We have two cases. One case, Levi is born, and then Shimon does Yibum. Another case is Shimon first does Yibum, and then Levi is born. So we were learning until now like Rav Oshia. Rav Oshia said Rabbi Shimon says that she's allowed to do Yibum to Levi in both of those cases. Even when Levi is born first, before Shimon does Yibum, he says Yesh Zika Midioraita, she's connected to Shimon, and Levi would be allowed to do Yibum after Shimon dies. Rav Papa argues. So Rav Papa Amar B'Yibim v'achar kach nolad palig Rabbi Shimon. He says Rabbi Shimon only argues with the Chachamim in one case. In the case where first Shimon does Yibum, Shimon is married, and then Levi is born. So when Levi is born, he meets her for the first time as a regular Eshet Ach. But Benolad v'achar kach Yibim, but in a case where Levi is born first, and then Shimon does Yibum, that means that when this boy Levi was born, he originally met Reuven's wife as a Yevamot. In that case, Rabbi Shimon agrees, and he says that you're right. In that case, there's no Yibum. So lo palik. In that case, he doesn't argue. And both Mishnayot are coming to teach me according to the Rabbanan. Velo zu avzu katani, and the Mishnayot are structured in a way that it's lo zu avzu, meaning the first Mishnah is telling me not only if Levi is born and then Shimon does Yibum, is there no Yibum to Levi after Shimon dies, but avzu, even if Shimon first does Yibum and then Levi is born and then Shimon dies, there's no Yibum from this lady, Reuven's original wife, to Levi. That's according to Chachamim. It's lo zu avzu. They're teaching me a chidush that doesn't even need to be said, and then the larger chidush. Tani kavadid Rav Papa. So the Gemara says we have a Braita like Rav Papa. So the Braita is going to give a bunch of different cases. This is just a difficult part, keeping track of all the cases, and then it's pretty easy. Tani kavadid Rav Papa. V'tiyuf to the Rav Oshia. So we're going to have a Braita like Rav Papa and knockout to Rav Oshia. Shnei achim ba'olam echad v'met echad mehem. So you have two brothers, and then one of them dies below velad without any children. V'amad hasheni hazeh la'asot ma'amar bivimto. The second brother, he was going to do ma'amar. Okay, so you have over here Reuven to his wife. So you have Reuven over here, and you have Shimon. Reuven dies. Shimon is about to do ma'amar. Velo hispik la'asot ba'ma'amar ad shenolad lo ach. And then he wasn't able to do ma'amar, and then this brother was born, and then he dies. Okay, so this is basically Reuven dies, nobody did Yibum, and then Shimon died. Levi was born before Shimon died. So, Harishona Yosa Mishum.
Shimon made a ma'amar.
He didn't. He tried to make ma'amar, but he didn't do it in the end.
So
Why
you want to mention he wants to do ma'amar?
Beautiful. That's going to be the question of the Gemara. Beautiful. That the Gemara is going to discuss that. We're going to get to that later. Okay. So the point is basically Reuven died. Nothing happened. Shimon died. Levi was born, and then Shimon died. So in this case, everyone agrees. The first lady, Reuven's wife, she's Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo of Levi, because Levi never met Reuven. Ushniya, but the second one, the wife of Shimon, so that's just the wife of Shimon. Shimon was alive when Levi was alive. So she could either do chalitza or yibum to Levi. Asaba ma'amar. Now let's say Levi actually did the ma'amar. Levi did ma'amar to this lady, to Reuven's wife. And then afterwards, Levi was born. So Levi was born after Ma'amar. Okay? So this is the second case. First case, nothing was done. Second case, Reuven dies, Shimon does Ma'amar, and then Levi is born. Or Levi was born and then he did Ma'amar. Vemet. So Harishona Yotza Mishum Eshtachim Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. This first lady over here, the wife of Reuven, she is Eshtach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo of Levi. And she doesn't do Yibum or Chalitza. Shniya Cholet V'lo Mityavemet. This one, she can do Chalitza, but not Yibum. Why? Because Chachamim hold Ma'amar is like a quasi-ishut, and she still requires Chalitza, but on the tzad, not on the tzad, but Yibum she cannot do because she's a little bit like a tzara. Rabbi Shimon Omer, like a tzara derva. Rabbi Shimon Omer, biata o chalitzata shel achat mehem poteret tzarata. Rabbi Shimon says, if Levi does Yibum or Chalitza to this one, okay, to Shimon's wife. So again, the case is, just to clear, the case is Reuven died, Levi was born, and then Shimon did Ma'amar. Or Reuven died, then Shimon did Ma'amar, and then Levi is born. The point is that Shimon did Ma'amar to the Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo, and he also had another wife. So Rabbi Shimon says, if Levi does Yibum to the wife of Shimon, not the wife of Reuven, but the wife of Shimon, this one.
Original wife.
What?
Original wife.
Yeah, Shimon's original wife. So that is poter the tzara, meaning he does Yibum to this one doesn't need. Either way, she's not going to need Yibum, because if Ma'amar actually means something, so then she's tzarat erva. So you already did, not tzarat, she's their tzarot. So you already did Yibum to this one. You don't need to do Yibum to two wives of the same person. So if Ma'amar really means something, so she's taken care of. You did Yibum to this one is taken care of. If Ma'amar doesn't mean anything, so then he does Yibum to this one is Eshet Reuven. If Ma'amar doesn't mean anything, then she's Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. She doesn't need Yibum anyways. Chalatz leba'alat Ma'amar. Now let's say Levi did Chalitza to Reuven's wife, to the one who got Ma'amar. So after this one died, after Shimon died. So lo niftara tzara. That doesn't do anything for Shimon's wife. He still needs to do Yibum for Shimon's wife, or Chalitza. Kansa umet. Now let's say Shimon actually did Yibum. Okay, so the first case was Shimon did nothing. Second case was Shimon did Ma'amar. This case is Shimon did Yibum. Shimon did a full Yibum to Reuven's wife, and then he died. V'achgach nolad loach, and then afterwards another brother, Levi, was born. O shenolad loach v'achgach kansa. Or you could have it the other way around, that the brother was born, and then Shimon did Yibum, so Vemet, and Shimon died. So shtein piturot mina chalitza u mina Yibum. They're both piturot from chalitza and Yibum, because it's going to be regular Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo, right? The case was either Levi was right, Shimon did Yibum, and then Shimon died, and then Levi was born. So Levi was born after everything. So in that case, there's no Yibum, no Chalitza. Or Levi was born, and then afterwards Shimon married her. So when Levi was born, this lady was an erva, and the other one is going to be a tzarat erva. So in both of those cases, there's not going to be Yibum or Chalitza. Now, this is the last case. Kansa v'nolad loach v'achar kach met. So let's say the case is Reuven dies, and then his brother Shimon does Yibum, full Yibum, and then Levi is born, and then Shimon dies. So that's going to be the case where there's a machloket. So shtein piturot mina chalitza u mina Yibum divrei Rabbi Meir.
Just Levi does the Yibum with the original wife of Shimon. That's it.
No. The case is, one more time. Let's just clarify. Reuven dies.
Oh, okay.
Shimon does Yibum, and then Levi is born.
He died.
So and then Shimon dies.
Yeah.
So according to Rabbi Meir, this is she is an erva on Levi. Once Reuven died and Levi was never alive, when Levi is born, she's an erva, even though she's already married when Levi is born. This is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Let's just read one more line. So shtehen. So the case was kansa venolad loach. First Shimon did yibum, and then Levi was born. V'achkach met, and then Levi, and then just Shimon over here died, right? Shtehen piturot min achalitza u'min yibum. None of them require yibum or chalitza. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon Omer, but Rabbi Shimon says in this case, hoilu ba'um tza'a beheter. Since when Levi was born, she was already married to Shimon. So when Levi came into the world, he came and found this lady already married, so that's called matza'a beheter. V'lo amda alav sha'ah achad b'isur. She was never asura on him because when Levi was born, she was already married to the brother. Shimon says you could do yibum or chalitza to either one, meaning they're both considered wives of Shimon. That's Rabbi Shimon. This is like Rav Papa. Why? Because Rav Papa says that Rabbi Shimon agrees in a case of nolad, when Levi is born, and then the brother does yibum. Rabbi Shimon agrees that there is that she is an erva. If Levi is born before yibum is done, if Levi is born after yibum is done, that's when Rabbi Shimon argues and says no, Levi can do yibum to Reuven's wife. Okay, so now the Gemara asks. The Gemara just proves it. Hababa desefa laman ktanila. This last part of the Braita, who is it coming to teach me a chidush according to? If it's coming to teach me a chidush according to Rabbi Meir, ktanila michti. If it's coming to teach me a chidush in Rabbi Meir doesn't care when Levi was born, whether Levi was born before Shimon did yibum or after Shimon did yibum. According to Rabbi Meir, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. As a matter of fact, the bigger chidush is when Levi is born after Shimon does yibum. So saying a case where Levi is born before Shimon does yibum is no chidush according to Rabbi Meir. So li'arvinu, if that's the case, if that's the chidush coming to teach me a chidush according to Rabbi Meir, la'arvinu v'litininu. It could have just put this case, this last case of the Braita, together with the previous cases. If you look at the Braita, the way it breaks up the cases is, it says, Kansa v'met, v'achkach nolad, o nolad loach, v'achkach kansa umet. That's one clumping of cases. And then it says the last case where Levi is born after Shimon does yibum. Well, why is that case separate? If it's coming to teach me according to Rabbi Meir, it should all be together. Elav Rabbi Shimon. It's coming to teach me a chidush according to Rabbi Shimon. And what's it coming to teach me? Uv'yibem v'achakach nolad palig b'nolad v'achakach yibem lo palig. That Rabbi Shimon is only arguing with Rabbi Meir on that last case of yibem, when Shimon does yibum, and then Levi is born. But when Levi is born before Shimon does yibum, Rabbi Shimon agrees that she, Reuven's wife, is a tzara, is an erva on Levi, and Levi cannot do yibum to her when Levi is born before Shimon did yibum. So this is a proof to Rav Papa. So that concludes the hard part. Just very, very simple. We had a machloket Rabbi Shimon and Chachamim by Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. And then we have a machloket Rabbi Oshia and Rav Papa. Rabbi Oshia said the machloket Rabbi Shimon and Chachamim is in all cases of Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo, meaning both cases, whether Levi was born before any yibum happened or Levi was born after yibum happened. And Rav Papa, and we just proved like Rav Papa knocked out Rav Oshia. Rav Papa says that the Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo of Rabbi Shimon agrees to Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo in a case where Levi is born first. But in a case where Shimon already did Yibum, that's the case where Rabbi Shimon argues. Not in both cases, only in that case. The Gemara says Shema Mina like Rav Oshia. Now the Gemara gets a little bit easier. Amar Rav Pap Amar Mar. Amad Ashini Laasot Ma'amar Bivimto V'lo Hispik Laasot Ma'amar Bivimto Ad Shenolad Lo Ach V'met. So the case was Reuven died. Shimon tried to do Ma'amar, but he wasn't able to do Ma'amar, and then he died. So we said that Rishona, the original wife of Reuven, Yotza'a Mishum Eshet Achiv Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. She is an Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo of Levi. Vishniya O Choletz Domit Yavemet, and Levi was born before Shimon died, so Shimon's wife is just a regular case of Yibum to Levi. They could do Yibum or Chalitza. So now the Gemara is bothered. It says, "My Amad umay lo hispik." What does it mean? Amad, he got up to do Ma'amar, velo hispik, but he wasn't able to do Ma'amar. What does that mean?
He didn't get a chance.
I avad, I lo avad. Like either he did Ma'amar, or he didn't do Ma'amar. This language is very weird. He tried to do Ma'amar, but he wasn't able to do it. So he did nothing. Why do you have to mention anything? So the Gemara says, Ella Amad Midata. He got up to do Ma'amar. He was going to do it, with her consent.
Doesn't count.
Okay, so we're going to get to it. Lo hispik midata ella ba'al korcha. But when he actually did it, he didn't have a chance to do it midata, rather ba'al korcha. He actually did the Ma'amar against her will. So Shimon wanted to do Ma'amar. The Gemara is saying he did Ma'amar, but without the consent of Reuven's wife. And what's it teaching us? That means nothing. That Ma'amar without consent of the lady means nothing. Right? Again, Ma'amar is a derabanan form of Kiddushay Yevamah. So he goes over to her and he says, I'm doing Ma'amar, Mikudesha to me, here's some money, and she says no. So we're saying that means absolutely nothing. Udlo ke Rebbe, and this is not like Rebbe. Detanya. Haosem Ma'amar bivimto shelo midata. Somebody does Ma'amar to a lady, to the Yevamah, without her consent. Rebbe Omer Kana. Rebbe says it's actually a good Ma'amar. That's the opinion of Rebbe. But Chachamim Omer lo Kana. Chachamim say no. That means absolutely nothing. My ta'amad de Rebbe. Where's Rebbe coming from that he says it works bal korcha, it works without her consent? Gamar mi bia di Yevamah. Rebbe learns from bia of a Yevamah. Ma bia di Yevamah bal korcha, af kiddushin bi Yevamah bal korcha. We know that actual yibum, even if she doesn't want to do yibum, but if he does yibum, it works. He's kind of taking place of the brother. As long as he steps in and he does that, the yibum is finalized, and she needs a get.
She doesn't have a choice.
The yibum works even without her consent. That's by yibum. So Rebbe learns from yibum, just like yibum works without her consent. So Ma'amar also Rabbanan. So that's how Rebbe learns. Rabbanan Gemirim Kiddushin Dalma. Rabbanan, they compare Ma'amar to regular Kiddushin. Ma Kiddushin Dalma Midata. Just like regular Kiddushin, it's only Midata, not Bal Korcha. You can't do Kiddushin to a lady if she doesn't accept it. She's not Mekudeshet. So Af Kiddushin Di Yevamah Midata. Also Kiddushin of a Yevamah is Midata, not Bal Korcha. It doesn't work against her will. So the Gemara says, "B'may kamiflagi." What's exactly this machloket? Mar savar mil di Yevamah, mil di Yevamah. Rebbe holds that we learn in Yanima, we learn things of Yevamah to things of Yevamah. So we learn Yibum to Ma'amar. Umar savar mil di Kiddushin, mil di Kiddushin havel lemelef. In the other opinion, Rabbanan, they hold, no, we learn Kiddushin from Kiddushin. So Ma'amar is Kiddushin, but it's by a Yevamah. So Rebbe says, well, it's by a Yevamah, so we learn from Yibum. Rabbanan say, no, it's Kiddushin, so we learn from Kiddushin, and it doesn't work Ba'al Korcha. So that's the machloket. Now the Gemara goes to the next case that we discussed in the Braita. Asaba ma'amar v'achakach nolad lo ach. Oh, shenolad lo ach v'achakach asaba ma'amar. So the case was that Shimon did ma'amar, and then Levi was born. Or Levi was born, and then Shimon did ma'amar. V'met, and then Shimon died. Rishona yotza mishum eshtachiv shelo haya ba'olamo. this lady, Eshet Reuven, is Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo of Levi. Right, again, so the case was Reuven died. Either Shimon did Ma'amar and then Levi was born, or Levi was born and then Shimon did Ma'amar. Doesn't really make a difference because she's still connected to Reuven. She's still considered Eshet Reuven, and she is Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo of Levi. Ushniya Choletzev Lo Mityavemet. Reuven's, Shimon's wife, she cannot do Yibum because Ma'amar connects her to Shimon, so she's a little bit Eshet Shimon. So the wife of Shimon, is a little bit Atzarat Erva, therefore she cannot do Yibum. But Chalitza she still requires. So Rabbi Shimon Omer Bi'atah Chalitza Shel Echad Mehem Porter Atzarata. Rabbi Shimon says, if Levi does Yibum to Eshet Shimon, not to Eshet Reuven, but to Eshet Shimon, so that is Poter the Tzara. Meaning, if Rabbi Shimon holds, if Ma'amar actually means something, so then she did Ma'amar and then Levi was born, so then what's it called? If Ma'amar means something, so then they're both considered Eshet Shimon, and he would technically allowed to do Yibum to either one. If Ma'amar means nothing, so then he does Yibum to Miriam, to this one, to Eshet Shimon, and then the other one is really an Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. He can't do Yibum to at all anyways. So either way, Mima Nafshach, he does Yibum to this one doesn't require anything. Okay? So Rabbi Shimon Ahaya. Which case is Rabbi Shimon going on? If he's going on a case where the brother is born and then afterwards Ma'amar is done, so that can't be, because that's Nolad v'achar kach yibem. Right? Rabbi Shimon would agree in such a case where Levi is born into a situation where Yibum has not been done yet, that the wife of Reuven would be an erva on Levi. So there was Ella, right? Lo palig Rabbi Shimon. Ella Saba Ma'amar Achach Nolad Loach. Rabbi Shimon is only over here. Rabbi Shimon is only talking about a case where Shimon does Ma'amar and then Levi is born. So Levi is born after the Ma'amar. And the just a recap, just to clarify, right? The reasoning of Rabbi Shimon's psak is like this. So the case is Reuven died. Then Shimon did Ma'amar. Ma'amar. Now the case we're talking about now is Shimon did Ma'amar, and then Shimon dies. So we say Levi, according to Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, he does Yibum to this lady. Yeah. He could do Yibum to this lady. She goes out. She does nothing. Why? Because if Ma'amar actually means something, so then they're both wives of Shimon, and therefore when Levi does Yibum to this one, she's out. If Ma'amar means nothing, so then she's Eshet Reuven. Levi cannot do Yibum to her. She's Eshet Shimon. She requires Yibum. So Mima Nafshach, Levi does Yibum to this one, and Eshet Reuven is free. Right. And the other case was Chalatz L'Ba'alat Ma'amar. If Levi did Chalitza to Eshet Reuven, to the Ba'alat Ma'amar, Lo Nifter Tzara. The Tzara, this lady, Shimon's wife, is not Pitura from Yibum or Chalitza. She still requires Yibum or Chalitza. My Ta'ama, Boker Tov. My Ta'ama, Mishum Dahavai Tzara Vadai Ubalat Ma'amar Safek. Because the Tzara, meaning Shimon's wife, she Vadai requires Yibum or Chalitza. Because regardless of whether or not Shimon did Ma'amar, it doesn't matter. Shimon's wife for sure requires Chalitza because Shimon died when Levi was alive. So this lady for sure requires Yibum or Chalitza. And this lady, Reuven's wife, is a safek whether she requires Yibum or Chalitza. Because if you say Ma'amar actually means something, so then she was married to Shimon before Levi was born, she requires Yibum or Chalitza. If you say Ma'amar means nothing, then she's Eshet Ach Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. She's only Eshet Reuven, and she doesn't require Yibum or Chalitza. So she's a safek whether she needs Yibum or Chalitza. Depends on whether Ma'amar means anything or not. she is a vadai. Eshet Shimon is a vadai, whether she does need yibum or chalitza. So, so the Gemara says that what's the reason that if he does chalitza to this one, it doesn't do anything to Eshet Shimon. If he does chalitza to Eshet Reuven, doesn't take care of Eshet Shimon, because he did chalitza to the one who is a safek. So that's not going to help us for the vadai. Vein safek motzi midei vadai. The safek doesn't help for the vadai. Okay, so we'll stop here. Basically, the important nikudot to take away is just you see throughout the sugya a very underlying machloket of how ma'amar works. One of the things that you see, underlying machloket between Rabbanan and Rabbi Shimon, how ma'amar works. According to Rabbanan, ma'amar is like this quasi half ishut, like she's considered Eshet Reuven. After Shimon does ma'amar, she's considered still Eshet Reuven a little bit, but she's also considered Eshet Shimon. But according to Rabbi Shimon, ma'amar is a safek, whether it's all or nothing, whether it actually accomplishes an ishut or not. So it's a fundamental machloket in ma'amar that's important to be aware of throughout the Masechet. Okay, B'ezras Hashem, we'll stop here.